Here I have two capacitors and I have two digital voltmeters. This voltmeter here is about $130. This is my daily driver. This is one that some Amazon seller sent me that's like 20 bucks. And we're gonna be checking capacitors on these things. But before I go over that, I wanna make sure that before you do anything on your air conditioning unit, you don't do anything out of your comfort level. You need to make sure that power is off to the unit, verify it at two sources. And before you start touching a capacitor, these things can like be charged and you could potentially like blind yourself or, shock yourself really bad if you don't discharge them first. To discharge the capacitor, you remove the wires and then you need to go with a metal screwdriver that has an insulated handle somewhere to ground to make sure it doesn't have current just built up in it that can shock you. If you don't have a voltmeter, you can pick one up, or you can also look at these things for visible damage. Now I already know this is the bad one. I've got visible damage there and it's a little bit buckled on the top. Okay, so here is my expensive meter. We have it set to the microfarad position and we have nothing. We'll go over to the new capacitor here, which is rated for 30. Yep, there you go, good to go. And here is the meter that Amazon sent me. We'll do the same reading. We're getting 0 on the capacitor that's dead. And we'll go over here and let's see. It's a little more delayed. It's reading very close to it. So this capacitor is gonna go right in its little home here, right down in there. And it's got two little screws here to secure it in place. Okay, so I've got my two wires attached, and typically with things that have two wires, it doesn't really matter the orientation of them, but if you have a dual capacitor with a third outlet, you will, or a third terminal on there, you will need to know which is common and which is hermetic to go to the compressor, and which is common and which is fan. Obviously, you can't go over all of the possible things that can go wrong in a very short video, but I think it could be helpful for some people or just interesting on how we check things on air conditioning units or electrical circuits. I get a lot of people giving me negative feedback that I shouldn't be teaching people this stuff, and it's very hard to gauge somebody's capabilities. There are a lot of comments that also say like, yeah, you can do this. This is easy if you can get the parts, which I think most of these parts and tools are available on Amazon or eBay. Let me know your thoughts on this. Should homeowners be able to work on their own stuff if they feel confident to do it? I know they can mess things up worse and potentially hurt themselves, but who's to say? Or I'm not anybody's keeper. I'm not responsible. They can be working on their car and they could hurt themselves. They could put something up on a jack stand and then the jack stand not be in position. They could kill themselves, changing a tire. What do you guys think? Am I wrong to try to teach this stuff? One more thing to add. Obviously, my intent is to keep creating better and more complete content. And the comments, they do help me to know what I miss.